Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Strategy Talk. It is Monday, March 16th, 2026. We have a lot to talk about, and this is actually, I think, my second or third time trying to film this video because what I do want to do is essentially run you guys through all 190 plus Pokemon that I currently have in my box. And when I attempted to do this yesterday, when I had some time over the weekend, I didn't even get halfway through normal types and it was already at like 20 minutes. So I've decided to start this over and make it a series. So each episode of Strategy Talk will include one of the types, all of the Pokemon types. Today we'll be doing normal types, and we will just kind of go through my box, talk about the decisions I've made, why I've kept these specific Pokemon, and a quick little Pokemon analysis as well. How I see the Pokemon being used in the meta as it currently is, but also in the future. So I will be going on a lot of tangents, just a warning here. I will be going on a lot of different tangents. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of different Pokemon on why I think they're unique, what I think their purpose is, and how I think they fit in the game design as a whole. And I can yap a lot about this stuff. So just expect a lot of that over these next few episodes. You can always just check out the beginning and the end of the video where I go into any news events that are going on, as well as just updates on the account. But I'll let you know when we start talking about the Pokemon box segment. I'll do a little intro for it. So yeah, just wanted to give an intro for that. I didn't want to re-record this, one, because I can't, but two, because it took me a while to put all the words together for it. But I did make a mistake in terms of how I thought Mew's skill worked. And I'm going to explain why that was wrong in this segment that I recorded yesterday. And then we're also going to look and see what I get from my Eureka Seed, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and play that right now. I do want to clear up some confusion that I probably made about Mew. In my last video, I gave you the wrong impression about how versatile Mew's metronome skill actually works. And it was due to a misunderstanding of what I thought this skill actually meant. This note down here that says the main skill level of metronome will determine the effect of the chosen main skill, I thought that meant that because certain skills do not have level 8 available, that not all of them would actually be triggered. And I also thought that using the Eureka Seed would allow you to pick a skill that Mew has triggered. Now, I was completely wrong about this. The way the Eureka Seed works is if I were to use it on Versatile to choose a random skill, it's actually not going to pick a skill that Mew has triggered, but one of these in the not learned yet section. And what that's going to do is it's going to randomly choose one of these skills and put it in the learned section up here. And then if I were to use a Eureka Seed on Mew again to change its skill, I would be able to either choose one of the learned skills or pick a random skill. That's how the Eureka Seed for Mew actually works. So my apologies for getting that wrong and for probably creating a lot of confusion around Mew as a Pokemon. I have been playing the game since launch, but sometimes I do misinterpret things, so I'll try to always clear that up whenever that happens. I do actually want to use my Eureka Seed and see what we get. So the best use of a Eureka Seed for Mew right now is probably to go ahead and unlock its level 25 slot. I do have this Mew leveled up to level 30, so it does get me eggs and Fiery Herb, and Fiery Herb is super useful for my Curry Weeks. It could actually replace the Raikou that I was using in the previous videos that I was talking about to gather enough Fiery Herb. But what it's not going to do is trigger the Helper Boost effect that allows me to overproduce from the other Pokemon on my team. So I'm not entirely sure if Mew could completely replace my Raikou for that effect, but I think it would be worth seeing what happens. But before we get that far with Mew, we absolutely need to power it up. Its base subskills and its speed are not good enough in order to really keep it on the team entirely. I did have it on the team for about 2 to 3 days, and it did trigger a couple of skills for me. It triggered Dream Shard Magnet. It also triggered Charge Energy S, and I think there was one more that it triggered. I think it also triggered Berry Burst, and it did trigger Berry Burst at level 8, which I didn't know that it could do. So it can actually trigger all of these skills at a level that some of them aren't even available at with other Pokemon. That's one of the unique use cases with Mew, is that it has level 8 available for skills that aren't even level 8 yet. So that Berry Burst actually got me 50 berries from the team, which was very cool. That's not something you can do with a level 6 Berry Burst Pokemon. So Mew is actually very powerful in that regard. It unlocks a lot of things that other Pokemon don't have yet, which is really cool. But enough of that. We're going to go ahead and unlock this subskill and see what we get. So we're going to use our Eureka Seed. And the reason why I'm doing this and not the main skill, like I mentioned, is because this Mew is just not worth it at its current stats to get something random at level 8. There's just too many skills that would be unhelpful, especially at a skill rate that's pretty low. So here we go. We're going to use it on subskill slot 2. We'll hit OK. And I'm hoping for Helping Bonus, Berry Finding S, or Inventory Up. Those would be great. Ingredient Finder would also be fine. But let's see what we got. We got a gold one. There's a lot of bad gold skills. Let's see what we get. We get Helping Bonus. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. Wow. I really was not expecting this to happen. I thought that would be one of the last skills that we would get would be Helping Bonus. So that is incredible. I've had amazing luck so far with Eureka Seeds. I'm blown away. I could not be happier with having Helping Bonus this early with my Mew. So that is awesome. That might even make it worth it to put on the team as is, just because it's providing that Helping Bonus. Wow, I'm actually like shaking a little bit. That's so nice to have so early. Amazing. Okay, we got a really good roll then with Mew. Cool. That's so exciting. All right, let's move on. Okay, we are back. Can't believe we got Helping Bonus on Mew. That is going to be incredible for my long-term strategy with Mew and just for Mew in general. Any Pokemon with Helping Bonus is just an immediate win. So that's awesome. All right, let's jump into the account and see where we're at. It is Monday at 6 p.m. right now. I just cooked lunch for Snorlax around like 5:40. And no, I think it was like 5:20 or something on my way home from work. And we had enough to cook the avocado dish for salads, which is what I have this week, salads. So I have stocked up quite a bit, as you can see from last week, in terms of avocados, fiery herbs, and we even still have some green grass corn left over. So we are in a really good spot to be able to passively make this dish throughout the week. Now, this dish is not the priority for the week, but it is really nice that we can make a lot of it. The main priority for this week, of course, is Dream Shard Week. Now, my overall strategy for Dream Shard Week is, of course, to get a lot of Dream Shards, but do it with a specific set of Pokemon. I have 2 Pokemon right here that I've invested in for Dream Shard Magnet. And I think I talked about this in a previous video, but my plan for Dream Shard Magnet is to create a team that has a minimum of 2 subskills as a requirement. This is just how I'm doing it. This is not how you have to do it. This is just how I'm planning for my personal account, because Dream Shard Magnet is up in the air as something that we're still not really sure is effective overall. But it's something I have planned for in my specific account and something I'm looking for as a consistent thread. And that is to have skill level up M and Helping Bonus and at least one skill trigger up trait. That can be either from the nature or another subskill. If I can create a full team of Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon that have both Helping Bonus and skill level up M across 4 slots, and then the 5th being, of course, the healer, I will have saved a total of 8 main skill seeds to create a whole Dream Shard Magnet team. And the reason why I'm okay with them having skill level up M is because a lot of the speed that's required to make the most of this skill will be replaced by the fact that all of them are having Helping Bonus. I think having all of them out at once is great, because then I know that all I'm doing is farming Dream Shards. And this will be especially useful when I've already, maybe I've already hit Master 20 for the week, longer down the line, when that's a consistent thing that can happen. And I've achieved all my missions for the week and I have nothing else left to do. I would probably put out the Dream Shard team. Now, I don't know how often that's going to happen or when that use case is going to be available, but there's also weeks like Dream Shard week where we're getting bonus effects from the skill and a higher skill trigger rate, where it's actually worth it to have these Pokemon out consistently to be able to gather a lot of Dream Shards at once. The fact that we've seen a second week proves that this is going to be a consistent thing that they keep having. So it's definitely something to keep in mind if you do want to expand your pots, if you want to make the most out of Candy Boost. Dream Shards are the limiting factor. Dream Shards have always been the limiting factor. I talked about this very early on when the game was first released. A lot of people thought that Dream Shards were abundant. It has been very clear for the past few years that Dream Shards are one of the most limiting factors in the game. The other limiting factor is, of course, Candy. Now, the thing about Candy is that you can double its effect using Candy Boost, but Candy Boost requires a lot of Dream Shards. So at the end of the day, it comes down to your Dream Shards. If you have an abundance of Dream Shards, you have essentially double the candy. Now, you have to wait for those Candy Boost to be available, and they are available in a plethora during the holiday Candy Boost, which is 500 candies a day can be affected as double. But throughout the year, we see multiple events. In fact, we've got 2 full weeks of Candy Boost that we're about to have. 50 candies a day can have double the power. Essentially, you can have 100 candies for a single Pokemon in a day while only spending 50. So, of course, the Dream Shard cost of Candy Boost is massive, especially at higher levels. And it can really it can be proved worth it to invest in a Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon for this specific reason, to farm a bunch of Dream Shards, maybe when you're not even ready for it, because these events come out so quickly. We don't even always have, the time to be able to prepare. So having something, having an answer to that, I think is really cool in terms of long-term game strategy. So I'm planning to create a full team of Dream Shard Magnetus Pokemon. It is an expensive thing. It is a huge main skill seed, resource-intensive thing to do. And it takes away from other strategies because you're spending a lot of main skill seeds. But ultimately, what it creates is a stronger overall Pokemon box for the long term because you're able to take the maximum effect of Candy Boost every single time. And I'm actually going to be using Candy Boost on a level 51 Pokemon, trying to take it up to level 60 this week using the excess of Dream Shards I plan to gather. So it's not really a problem for me to use Candy Boost on a high level Pokemon because I know that I'm going to have a team that can answer the problem of, well, you need more Dream Shards now. So that's just my long-term thinking and my long-term game plan for Dream Shards in general is I don't really want to have to worry about them as a limiting factor. I want my only limiting factor to be the candy that I can attain and the Pokemon that I can catch. So I'm trying to eliminate that through the Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon. Okay, I think I've gone into depth about what that means. We have 2 Pokemon that do this for us, and that first one is Sableye. Oh, also, I want to note that these 4 Pokemon are going to be different Pokemon. So right now I have them slated as Lucario, Swalot, Sableye, and Persian. And the reason why I'm not running, like 4 Sableye or 4 Persian or 4 Lucario, even though they essentially all do the same thing, just with different effectiveness, is that I want to be able to make the most of the candy that each one of these Pokemon has. So they each have their own candy pool. People are going to be sending me Sableye candy. I'm going to be getting Sableye candy from research. If I have 5 Sableye, I can't level them all very high because they're all going to need that candy. So this allows me to pretty much guarantee that at this point in the game, I'm able to get a Swalot, a Lucario up to level 50, unlocking the subskills that I'm looking for immediately when they do occur. And for the long run, I'm not sharing a pool of candy across 4 Pokemon. I have 4 different Pokemon candy pools that I can draw from to make sure they're all leveling up and scaling up around the same level, providing the same amount of strength, and not really keeping myself locked down to a low-level Pokemon that I put out on the team. So that increases berry strength, and that also increases speed. That also gets us closer to more sub-skills later on, like this Persian, for example, gets a lot of ingredient fighter. This Persian, for example, gets a lot of ingredient finder at level 100, which is going to be really useful for gathering milk passively while I'm farming dream shards. And as we know, like I've been talking about, milk is a huge ingredient. It has a huge metacall right now in terms of avocado grow or overgrow avocado gratin. Man, that's hard to say. It requires 41 milk. So I can essentially run this Persian and have a stockpile of milk that I can put into a curry week the following week. If I just want to do a week of dream shard farming, I know that this Persian is going to be able to answer the call of a lot of milk for me if I do roll curries. So that's a really nice thing to think about long term. This Crustle is on the team purely for its helping bonus and purely for its skill. There's no other reason I put this Crustle on this team other than to continue to farm ingredients, continue to stockpile that avocado, and that's going to be huge for next week, which I do plan to be scoring a lot higher. And I'll be using all these dream shards next week as well. So I really want to continue this avocado stockpile that I have going and making sure that going into other weeks that I can use those avocados on the high strength avocado dishes week after week. So that's why Crustle is here, and it's just like, again, it's such an amazing thing to have helping bonus on a Pokemon that is also really useful, and sometimes it's worth being patient enough to wait for helping bonus to be unlocked before you commit to something. Making sure you catch a Pokemon with helping bonus, if you really, really want it to be on your team all the time, it's definitely something worth thinking about. But again, it's not necessary. It's just a huge bonus that you really can't, you can't ignore how helpful it can be. So even when I don't need avocados, I just put Crustle here because it's got a helping bonus to make Persian and make Sableye go faster. And it's passively getting me all those other ingredients along with that. So the faster I can make these two guys go, the better, because they're going to get more skill triggers and they're going to get me more dream shards, which is the whole point of this week. With the added skill bonus that we're getting this week of an extra, I think 25%, we're going to see a lot more skill triggers from Crustle, a lot more avocados in general. So it's just a good week to passively farm and prep for the following week. And then lastly, we have Glaceon, and Glaceon is here to trigger its main skill and make that avocado dish possible for me to cook. It's also farming a lot of milk for me, which is great. I've already talked about that a lot. But that's the current team that we have. You can ignore this title. That was something I was previously working on. Whenever I just don't want to have a name for something, I just put an underscore, and it's kind of like a blank team that I will flexibly change throughout the week. But that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and gather. We got some skill triggers. That's good. Glaceon was running low on energy, so we definitely needed that. No trigger from Glaceon. That's fine. We've got several hours to pick that up. We get a trigger from Persian here. There's that 50% added. It would normally be 2,500. We got 3,750 flat. Nothing from Sableye and nothing from Crustle. I didn't see a whole lot of, I didn't see maybe an unusual amount of skill triggers today, but I did get a decent amount from my team. And the day is not even over yet, but we started the day with, I think, 6 skill triggers. I think 5 to 6 skill triggers. So that's really nice. I'm definitely noticing an uptick. But I have had to change team members, which does reset the passive skill trigger. So, yeah. Speaking of this morning, let's go ahead and jump to essentially my Pokemon Sleep Journal. We're going to look at this morning, what I caught, and that will also be a perfect segue into today's Pokemon Box segment where we look at normal types. So I'm really excited to show you some of the normal types I have, and what I'm planning to use them for long term and in the short term. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the Pokemon Sleep Journal segment. All right, here we go. March 15th, 2026, session 964. That's crazy. We're almost to 1,000 sleep sessions. I am not someone who does naps. I just do overnight sleep sessions. That's my play style. And then I think I ended the week at 4.5 million strength, which is the best I've ever done, I would say, on a non-event week, non-good camp ticket week. And I'm not even at max area bonus on Amber Canyon. So I think that's amazing. And I think it's really due to how much I took the time to craft that cooking rotation strategy that's working so well for me right now. So we're seeing just like a lot of synergy going on. And look what we get. What a great way to end this awesome week. We get a 3-star shiny Chansey. And this is that perfect segue I was talking about for normal types. We get a couple of Mew snapshots too on the Top Belly Ninetales and the Ditto Larvitar, which is pretty cool. We get Natu, we get Ditto Pikachu, we get a Blisty, that's pretty nice for the candy, and then we got Ninetales. We got 2 Ninetales actually, one Top Belly and a 1-star as well. So this is a great session right here. And there's the shiny Chansey. I do have Ditto pretty high up on the friendship points there. We're almost to friendship level 10. I did think about feeding the Ditto just because I would like to have a dedicated mono oil farmer, something I have not caught yet. But that's kind of like a long-term goal. I'm okay with oil right now, especially with Crustle and the Mawile that I have caught and I think I've shown off already. So I'm not too worried about getting a Ditto anytime soon. And that's why the priority for me was this Plusle that I decided to put some biscuits into. Plusle is an ingredient magnet Pokemon, as we all know, with its plus main skill. And I'm really looking to hunt a helping bonus main skill up Plusle. I think that my current electric team and electric like meta in general right now is very helping bonus centered and skill centered. So I want to keep that going. I don't want to really stray away from that as long as it might take me to get the good Plusle and Minun that I need to make that strategy worth it. I'm okay with waiting because my electric team is already really good. So I don't want to slow that progress down any further by catching a mediocre Plusle and investing into it. I'm ready to wait. So we go ahead and get the 100 sleep point Poke Biscuit so that we can catch our Chansey essentially for free. And this is the first time I noticed that Chansey's mouth and its tongue are actually green as well, which was pretty cool. I think Chansey Shiny is one of the best in the game. It looks really cool. I love that green color. It reminds me of a Shamrock Shake. Not the weird looking Shamrock Shakes, but like the classic Shamrock Shake. Okay. Look at all these candies we get too. I think we got 18 from Ninetales because of the Mew. So that's pretty cool. And then we get 24,000 research and 33,000 dream shards, which converts to 57,000 dream shards total. That's going to be great for all the candy boosting I'm going to be doing this week. And let's take a look at the stats. We got egg, honey, which I wasn't planning for this long term, but when I caught this, I was like, yes, this is perfect. This is the third and final Chansey. And we actually get amazing stats for it too. Helping speed, skill level up M, ingredient finder M, inventory up to support all of those ingredients, and then skill trigger to support the amazing energy for everyone else skill. It's basically everything I would hope for. Of course, I would trade a few things for even better subskill stats, but I think this one is amazing. Getting this to level 50 will definitely be a priority after I complete the mono egg Chansey, but getting that egg and honey split might actually be more important. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna have to like relook at what I plan to do with my Chansey candies in the short term because egg and honey have such a good synergy on dessert week. And I think with that helping speed and ingredient finder unlocked by level 50 together is incredible. Along with the skill level up M, we're going to get so much extra energy too. So it's definitely worth thinking about. And if I do, I mean, I don't know, like that would potentially be enough egg. I do have a Palmont with egg in the C slot that's at level 60. So there's a lot of use cases for that Chansey. Overall, I'm really, really happy that I'm really, really happy that I caught it. Sorry, that was really bad. But yeah, I think that's going to be really useful long term. But yeah, that's the perfect segue into our normal type segment right now where we look at what's in the box. But before we do that, Look at this. We get 3.9 million strength in cooking alone. That just proves how good a cooking rotation strategy can be on a non-good camp ticket week. If you plan accordingly, you can get a lot of strength. It's just a matter of focusing on the synergy of your teammates, and that's what I'm learning. Is like, I think I have learned this for quite a while now playing this game, but truly implementing it and having a plan for every scenario ahead of time, I think was super helpful. Having all those teams, even though I didn't swap between them, knowing which Pokemon to jump into is the most important thing, because you may think, oh, well, I should go to Meowscarada because I need Potato. But no, I actually need to go to Meowscarada because I need Potato and a main skill trigger, because Glaceon's not going to be able to do it on its own. Those little things I've noticed are like really, really impactful to be able to absolutely maximize the strength you can get. So yeah, I'm trying to take what I learned this week and put it into other weeks. And I think it's going to take some time to truly flush out desserts and salads. I don't think they are as strong for me as my curries, but we'll see. I think we'll figure it out. We do get a double skill trigger from Pomot here. We don't get a skill trigger from Persian, but that's okay. We're just starting it off here. We do get a double skill trigger from Sableye, and we get about, it looks like 8,200 shards from those two skill triggers, so that's really nice. We do get a single skill trigger from Crustle for Avocado, which is always needed. So we get all those avocados there. We got 33. That's awesome. We only got one skill trigger too. So that's the nice part about having Ingredient Finder M on that Crustle, is all of those extra just like avocados that it gathers on its own. And then we had, of course, the glitch where it doesn't actually save the ones that we picked up, but we did get them in the box eventually. Mew did not trigger its skill, and I'm not really expecting it to. It really does need some helping speed and skill trigger up stats to make a more consistent skill trigger possibility available for us. So that's just gonna take a while. I'm not too stressed about getting a lot of skill triggers from you. I'm still just trying to figure out how I want to plan my resources to making a really powerful Mew as soon as possible. So yeah, that is this morning. And then here is the team. This entire team right now has helping bonus. Every single member has helping bonus. We have a 25% speed increase just because they're all synergized together with helping bonus. I do switch out Pomot here for Beanie. Beanie the Golem, who gets me lots and lots of beans. It's very fast, high ingredient rate, and it also has helping bonus. Oh, that's right. We switched out Mew. I think we switched out Mew instead because Mew was not the priority this week. Once I realized how well stocked I was for Bulldoze, I realized that it's probably better to cook Bulldoze as much as I can to increase Snorlax strength at a minimum to create a decent amount of Dream Shards from research, because research is also being boosted. So I did want that to be on the list of things that I focus on. And then we're still able to cook a decent amount, you know, like I'm just doing Fury Attack Corn Salad to make sure that I get that breakfast in. But we are able to eventually cook Avocado Grow Gratin for lunch. And then, I have like quite a bit of ingredients ready to go ahead and cook that again for dinner. So yeah, I think getting those Dream Shards from research and then having Sableye and Persian on the team all week is going to create a lot of resources for us. So yeah, we'll watch it and see how it goes. Okay, so with that cook, we do get up to basic 2. I think it was like around 17,000 strength. And I do want to show you guys the Pokemon that I plan to candy boost this week. And I will look into it a little further once we get off of this screen recording. But this, I think I said it was level 51. It's actually level 54. This Quaquaval is shiny, which is pretty cool. But it also has really, really good stats. And it has a nice ingredient split of beans and leeks, which is perfect for Ninja Salad. It's doing that thing that I was talking about with Crustle, which is role consolidation. Rather than having a bean farmer and a leek farmer, I can utilize Quaquaval to get all I need for both. When it comes to Ninja Salad, I can get all the beans I need and all the leeks I need from Quaquaval alone. And then that saves me a whole nother slot on the team to be able to gather other ingredients and include skill specialists to maximize the pot. So it's berry finding S, skill level up S, and ingredient finder M. And later on, it gets only even better with helping speed and more inventory to support the berry finding S. So this is going to be a really, really good Quaquaval for me long term. I think a standard that I'm slowly starting to grow with my strategy is either having a Pokemon have helping bonus or berry finding S. And again, if it's got great stats, it doesn't have to have these, but those skills are just so powerful and add so much additional supportive strength in so many different ways that they're almost worth waiting for. So I'm being really selective with a lot of the Pokemon that I'm catching at this point, just because I've noticed how powerful these subskills are. Okay, so here's the missions we need for the week. I was able to get one of them there. I didn't see exactly what it was. I wanted to see if I had incenses to put down to get those 5 Dream Cluster S's, and I realized that it probably isn't worth it to use these incenses for that mission right now, just because I think it might be better to save them. I think I might have to buy a few incenses to get that mission completed, and I just decided it just wasn't worth it. I'd rather save them and make sure I catch those Pokemon that I'm gonna have incenses out for, because right now I just don't have many Poke Biscuits, so I kind of have to be selective with what I use. Let's see if, oh, perfect. We get that skill trigger for dinner. We are now able to cook bulldoze, guacamole, and chips. We just need the beans, which is why we want to check Glaceon as often as possible so that we can get Beanie back in as soon as we can. Let's see if anyone else has a skill trigger. Nope, that's fine. They are going to get a whole new help check, hopefully, with this extra 5% that we're about to throw in here. So there's Beanie. Ingredient Finder M, Helping Speed M, and Helping Bonus, and it gets Berry Finding S and Inventory up S. This guy is awesome. Yeah, I really want to level this guy all the way up because it's, again, a role consolidator. Any dish or multiple dishes for a cooking rotation strategy that require beans and potatoes, this guy is going to be able to do that. I truly believe that he's going to be able to last quite a long time in that role. And on top of that, he's providing that Berry Finding S Helping Bonus combo, which is ridiculously strong. Okay, so we're going to put Beanie back in there. And this full team now has a Helping Bonus effect of 25%, which is crazy. So that Palmot's going 27 minutes. Persian is 28 minutes. That's nuts. A lot of people think Persian isn't very good or isn't worth investing in, and that might be true. We don't know what a Alolan Persian will do. We don't know, and it will share the same candy pool. So it is, if you're like, I want to wait for a Alolan Persian, could be worth it to save those candies. But for me, my Persian is really good, and I'm really happy to use this for the strategy that I described with Helping Bonus and Skill Level Up M. So I think it's totally worth it. I've enjoyed having it simply as a Pokemon that I can throw in there just for the Helping Bonus if I'm trying to put in, or if I'm trying to get a skill trigger to go off for a specific Pokemon, or I'm trying to get a specific ingredient. Helping Bonus can do that for you. You can put 4 Helping Bonus Pokemon on a team, with that 5th Pokemon being the target, whether it's ingredients, a skill, or just maybe a few more berries for a mission. You can use a team of Helping Bonus Pokemon to do that for you. And if they also have a really powerful skill like Dream Shard Magnet, they're just really useful. So that's how I kind of see it, is you gotta strategize. You have to find cohesiveness. You have to find beyond what just the game presents you at base. You have to look for crafty ways to make the most of what you've caught. And that's what I feel like I'm doing with this Persian. All right, without further ado, we're finally going to jump into normal types. All right, welcome to the normal box. I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of all of the normal types, and then I'll talk a little bit about how I plan to use them in the future. I can go on a lot of different tangents and do a lot of different team designs with a lot of these, but I'm gonna try and save that for future videos because I just went on a 10-minute tangent about this happening, and that could be its own video. So we have so much to talk about, but I'm just gonna show you what's in here and quickly give you ideas of how I plan to use them, and a little bit about what I think about the Pokemon. So this first one is this happening. It gets Egg potato, potato, and there's some really interesting synergy with apple acid dressed yogurt and coffee defiant dressed yogurt that I can use with this happening. It passively gets me eggs with a focus on potato. So that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about there. This is my Eevee that has Berry Finding S and Helping Bonus. To not go too deep into this, because I definitely talked about this a lot in my previous attempt to record this video, I believe that 2 Umbreon with Berry Finding S and Helping Bonus, and at least 1 main skill up trait could potentially be the answer to Darkrai. Those 2 plus Darkrai plus some other dark types to support its placement on the team with some strength could do a lot. And you already saw my Sableye today. I would definitely put Sableye on that team, but without going too deep into that, that's pretty much what this Eevee is for. This Eevee is just a shiny. There's really not much to talk about here. It doesn't have the best stats. It doesn't get skill trigger until level 75. So I don't really have a plan for this one. But yeah, it's a shiny, and that's pretty cool. We also have what I think might be a good Leafeon. I'm not fully committed to this. I just labeled it Leafeon because I liked that it had Berry Finding S, and I think Leafeon definitely needs Berry Finding S if it's not going to get a subsidiary effect to its main skill, because its main skill is just kind of underwhelming. It kind of works as a healer, but doesn't really do much else in that regard, and it can technically be a little bit more inconsistent than Energy for Everyone. So yeah, I think Leafeon requires either Helping Bonus or Berry Finding S to make it worth it. And I thought the ingredient finder with the ABC ingredient spread was definitely worth considering there. So that's a temporary Leafeon idea. That's all that's there for. And then we have Lil Pumpkin. Lil Pumpkin is probably one of my favorite Pokemon that I've ever caught. It is a Halloween event Pikachu from the most recent Halloween event we had in 2025. And this guy's awesome. He has ingredient finding up nature, mono pumpkin, ingredient spread, ingredient finder S at level 25, and berry finding S. It has a lot of good things going for it, but the thing that is kind of holding me back from dumping all of my Eevee candies into it is just how much it's going to require to get it up to skill trigger S and inventory up S to make it worth it. Because without berry finding S and that ingredient rate, it's going to fill up its inventory really, really fast. Now I can get a +8 on its inventory by maxing out its ribbon, but in the process of doing that, it's kind of wasting a slot for quite a long time. Maybe if I'm cooking like roleplay Pumpkaboo Stew, where we only need 10 pumpkins and we're running Raikou and I can get a helper boost trigger, maybe that's possible. But for the most part, Lil Pumpkin's going to need a lot of candies and a lot of resources, and I am absolutely happy to do that because I think when I check the stats, it can provide like 40 pumpkins a day, which is more than enough for Pumpkaboo Stew. And with that skill trigger M at level 75, when I subseed it up, of course, and a max level main skill, it's going to be doing a lot. It's going to be getting a lot of ingredients and fulfilling the role of a pumpkin farmer for a specific dish and passively gaining a lot of other ingredients. So it's perfect for a cooking rotation strategy. I love this. I love this Eevee, one of my favorite Pokemon that I've ever caught, and I'm really excited to use it in maybe like 5 years when it's actually going to be useful. Whenever they decide to do level 75, I will candy boost all 948 of these candies to get it as far as I can into the leveling system, hopefully close to level 75. We'll see what happens, but that's Lil Pumpkin. Next, we have this Ditto. This Ditto is a part of a unique team that I haven't used in a while, mostly because I haven't had a Sunday night that warranted it. This is my Dream Shard bonus and Research Experience bonus Ditto. Its one and only purpose is to maximize the research experience and the dream shards that we get on a Sunday night. Because Sunday night, you don't know what type of dishes you're going to be cooking next week, and you're also being cut off from a lot of the helpfulness that the Pokemon would provide because inventories get reset at 4 a.m. So when you go to sleep, and I go to sleep at like 10:30. from 10:30 to 4, whatever happens there just doesn't really matter because those inventories are being reset. So Ditto is there to maximize research experience and Dream Shard bonuses on a legendary event week when you plan to see a legendary that Sunday night by putting one of your incenses down, combined with a luck incense to double your Dream Shards. Maybe there's also a Dream Shard bonus effect on the research you're doing that night. This team, a team of 5 of these Pokemon, can be extremely powerful. And that's what I'm working on, is getting 4 more of this lineup, research experience bonus and Dream Shard bonus, in the first 2 slots. That's all I'm looking for. It doesn't matter what Pokemon it is. As long as it has those 2, I'll put it on my Sunday night team to maximize the effects of Sunday night, which is always your strongest night and the likely the most Dream Shards you're going to get. So that's a great tip if you haven't learned that yet. Research experience bonus, Dream Shard bonus. Look for these Pokemon when you're catching them, and save a team just for this and give them the name so you don't forget and accidentally transfer them. So that's DSB and REB there. It does have Mono Oil, which is pretty cool, but the speed of help down on a Pokemon that's already incredibly slow, it's just not worth it. This guy has a frequency of nearly an hour, so I don't plan to do that. But yeah, that's my DSB REB Ditto. Next one is Ditto, which I have named Leak God, and that's because for a while it was my best producer for leaks. It does have a really cool ingredient split of oil and leak. It has a really high ingredient rate and a helping speed that can be seeded up to helping speed M. I definitely want to level up this Ditto to level 100 at some point because it has everything going for it. Other than the main skill chance down, maybe we can get a mint that would remove that. But yeah, it has everything going for it. The inventory, triple ingredient finder at level 100, and a speed up subskill stat. This guy's really good. And where there are oil and leak needed, this guy's going to do a really good job. So that's that one. And then this is the Ditto that I've decided to invest in the short term and eventually to bring to level 100. And I'm also going to be putting main skill seeds into it. Yes, I am crazy. Yes, I'm going to be putting main skill seeds into a Ditto. I think its skill is really cool. I think it has a lot of opportunities that I'm not going to get into because this video is long enough. But this Ditto has Skill Trigger M, Skill Trigger S, EXP Gains Up, and Ingredient Finder M. And it eventually gets Berry Finding S, which can be supported by Inventory Up. It also has an ABC ingredient spread, which is awesome for Ditto because it gets really powerful ingredients. Oil, leek, and tails are really powerful and really useful for a lot of really strong dishes. So this Ditto is the full package, in my opinion, and the EXP Gains Up only makes that long quest to level 100 to get that Berry Finding S only easier. So that's great. And I named him Slip. And every time I look at him, it makes me wish that I could play Pokopia. Okay, moving on. We have this Kangaskhan. I think I caught this guy recently. Yes, in February on Amber Canyon. Kangaskhan is really interesting for me right now because I already have a really, really good mono ginger Tyranitar. And I normally wouldn't be the person to say, well, I already have this mono ingredient specialist, so why do I need this one? But the only use case of a mono ginger Kangaskhan for me right now would be a normal boosted week on expert mode, and potentially expert mode on Snowdrop. But Snowdrop already shares normal and dark typing as the berry preference there. So it's not a huge concern of mine to get a ginger-focused Kangaskhan, which is why I'm okay with this potato-ginger split that this one specifically has. And on top of that, it has Helping Speed, Inventory Up M, and Ingredient Finder S, which I can bring up to Ingredient Finder M. This guy could get me a lot of potatoes and ginger in a short amount of time, because I believe Kangaskhan has a decent ingredient rate already. And then with that main skill up nature, we're getting ingredient magnet to pop off a little bit more often, which is really good because that's an incredible skill and obviously very useful when you're cooking and you have an ingredient Pokemon on the team. This Kangaskhan is kind of the inverse in terms of its ingredient spread. Actually, no, it's got beans instead of potato, but this is a ginger focused with bean in the late game. Kangaskhan, the only reason I kept this one is because it has triple speed. It's under 30 minutes frequency, which is pretty good for a Kangaskhan. I don't know if I will level this up anytime soon. Like I said, I already have a Tyranitar that's doing a really good job, but it's definitely worth maybe considering way later down the line. That speed could be helpful to be able to, quickly get Ginger, if that's all I need to do. If I just need to get 2 Ginger really fast, maybe this Kangaskhan is the answer over Tyranitar. Who knows? We'll see. And then next we have the Shiny Chansey, which we've already looked at, so I don't need to dive too deep into this. Essentially, that honey and egg split is going to be so useful for Dessert Week, because Dessert Week requires both of those in excess, especially with the new honey dish that just got released. Here's my mono egg Chansey. It has ingredient finder M, skill trigger M, skill level up S. I do not plan to evolve this into a Blissey. This will stay as a Chansey for the added speed effect that you gain from the ribbon. The ribbon will give you, the sleep ribbon will give you a increased speed if the Pokemon can still evolve, which ends up being faster than Blissey, because I believe Blissey slows down a little bit. So yeah, that is that mono egg Chansey. And you can see I also get skill trigger S at level 100. Helping speed M obviously is always good. And skill level up S, we get some free main skill levels. This Chansey could potentially be the team healer for half the day. I'm not going to say it's going to do a good job all day, but if we get enough energy, we can pull a healer off of the team and put it back on before I go to sleep and fulfill that need again, but open up a role. So this, in a sense, this Chansey is consolidating a role by being so skill focused. We've already talked about Persian, so that's going to conclude the normal box. Oh my goodness, this was probably a really long video. Thank you. If you're still here, tell me what your favorite shiny is in the comments. And wow, I don't want to make this any longer, but I just want to say thank you so much for watching. A lot of you have shown a lot of support, even though I haven't been making videos in a while. And I know it took a while to get this one up. It's going to be really hard for me to get through my whole box. So I appreciate your patience. And I'll give you a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about in the next video, which is my firebox. So some cool stuff in there. I did catch an Entei recently, which is kind of cool. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you have questions, thoughts, or topics you want me to talk about in the future, we have a plethora of things to talk about. Go ahead and drop them down there. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like. If you think someone you know might enjoy it, go ahead and send it to them. And I'm not going to ask you to subscribe, because if you want to do that, that's your choice. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.